Audi may be accelerating rapidly towards an electrified future, but we're also maintaining momentum in the development of the models and technologies that define Vorsprung durch Technik in the present day. The RS3, one of the standout stars in that Hall of Fame, is the latest to have made an evolutionary leap. The newcomer joins a 12-strong Audi Sport portfolio that's the youngest and most extensive in its history. In 2020, it was responsible for the division's most successful year to date, in which over 29,000 deliveries were made to performance enthusiasts worldwide. In the UK, we'll be offering this latest model in 4-door saloon and 5-door sportback forms as before, and with a comprehensive standard RS3 specification that will be upgradable to even more attractive and comprehensive carbon black and Vorsprung levels. We'll also be marking its debut with an exclusive launch edition trim, limited to just 96 UK examples. Developed by Audi Sport on the already accomplished foundations of the latest A3 Saloon and A3 Sportback, the new RS3 models continue uphold on very important family tradition. At their heart is a further developed version of our famously high-spirited 5-cylinder engine, whose origins can be traced all the way back to the legendary Group B Quattro rally cars of the 1980s and beyond. In its latest application, this 9-time winner of International Engine of the Year awards is right up to speed following its revisions, and as well as being supported by usual Quattro all-wheel drive, is also now given even more opportunity to shine by further enhanced RS-specific sport suspension. Its revised dampers and geometry promote even greater precision and faster reaction, but it's the revolutionary new RS torque splitter governing how torque is distributed that is largely responsible for delivering handling which has brought a quantum leap in the newcomers. That even greater capability is very effectively embodied in these latest generation models, which have an even more powerful presence than their predecessors. Their pronounced arches flare over 19-inch wheels in various designs and accommodate a front track that's 33mm wider in both models than their already broad predecessors, and 10mm wider at the rear in the Sportback. They also deliver even more visual drama through detailing such as the new air outlets behind the front arches, the deep side skirts with inserts finished in either black or carbon fibre, depending on the version, and the elongated, curving rear diffuser in the RS-specific rear bumper. These are brought into even sharper relief by the eye-catching new paint finishes Camorra Grey and Kyalami Green. In standard models, LED headlights with dynamic indicators and distinctive daytime running lights amplify the impact of the enlarged front air intakes and redesigned single-frame grille with their distinctive Audi Sport honeycomb lattices. The effect is even more eye-catching in higher spec versions, all of which feature upgraded matrix LED headlights with darkened bezels and digital daytime running lights as standard. In the lower section of the headlamp, the light takes the form of a checkered flag when the car is moving, and when it's parked up, this motif also appears in the passenger side light, along with an RS3 formation on the driver's side as part of their dynamic coming home and leaving home function. In Launch Edition and Vorsprung versions, black detailing throughout the body also further intensifies the look, while the carbon black models live up to their name with additional carbon fibre reinforced polymer accents for elements such as the door mirror housing, the side skirts, and the engine compartment cover. The RS3 Carbon Black Saloon is also distinguishable by its exclusive brilliant black roof finish. Thanks to a new engine management system, the latest version of the turbocharged 2.5-litre TFSI at the heart of the RS3 responds even more keenly, particularly in lower regions of the rev range, and interacts even more effectively with the 7-speed S-Tronic twin-clutch transmission. With a 400 horsepower peak now delivered earlier in the rev range, and a 20 Nm torque boost to an impressive new maximum of 500 Nm, it can catapult the RS3 Sportback and RS3 Saloon from 0 to 62 mph in just 3.8 seconds, and on a race circuit or de-restricted autobahn can spur standard models onto a top speed of 155 mph. In other versions, the limiter cuts in even later at 174 mph, and with the exception of the Launch Edition, all equipment levels can be combined with the optional RS Dynamic Pack that sustains acceleration until a class-leading 180 mph. As well as a top speed increase, the RS Dynamic Pack for standard models adds adaptive damping for the RS Sport suspension, RS ceramic brakes with grey calipers, and the RS Sports exhaust system, which makes its presence felt through an even more vocal exhaust note and visible in the gloss black finish it adds to the RS3's customary big bore oval tailpipes. All versions beyond the standard RS3 are already equipped as standard with the uprated exhaust system, and Launch Edition and Vospring models also feature adaptive damping suspension, something reflected in the pricing and content of the dynamic pack available for these versions. Regardless of the trim, every RS3 model has scaled new heights in terms of handling, thanks in part to its further improved sport suspension, but primarily to the integration of the RS torque splitter and a new modular vehicle dynamics controller, or MVDC. The MVDC enables the torque splitter to network with other major chassis systems such as the adaptive dampers and wheel selective torque control with a new level of speed and intelligence. Where previous RS3 models used a single electronically controlled multi-disc clutch connected to the rear differential to actively control torque distribution between the front and rear axles, the latest generation models feature a multi-disc clutch with its own control unit on each rear drive shaft. This newly developed RS torque splitter technology, combined with the quicker-witted new MVDC, enables even more precise and appropriate targeting of the drive forces, and that manifests itself in a far greater reluctance to understeer or oversteer, and overall in a feeling of significantly improved agility. During fast cornering, the torque splitter increases the proportion of torque channeled to the outer rear wheel which is under more load, namely the right rear in left turns and the left rear in right-handers, to comprehensively curb the tendency for the nose to run wide. It can also prevent the rear of the car from stepping out of line by directing more torque to the wheel on the inside of a bend. The car's attitude can be tailored to a significant extent by the driver using the Audi Drive Select dynamic handling system, which features new RS Performance, RS Torque Rear and RS Individual modes on top of the more familiar Comfort, Auto and Dynamic settings. It not only influences the response of the engine, steering, transmission and sound profile of the exhaust system, but also the reactions of the torque splitter and the adaptive suspension that's standard for Vorsprung and Launch Edition models and optional for other models as part of the RS Dynamic Pack. In Comfort mode, Audi Drive Select adjusts the bias of torque distribution in favour of the front wheels, while the Auto option balances delivery more equally between the axles to quell understeer and oversteer as effectively as possible. In the even more focused dynamic setting, there's a markedly more rearward orientation, and that's taken to even greater extremes in RS Torque Rear mode. Designed for drivers fortunate enough to be able to let off steam away from the public roads, this mode can divert up to 100% of torque at the rear axle to the wheel on the outside of a bend, and also initiates engine mapping and transmission settings that make control drifts easy to achieve. Beyond that, there's RS Performance mode, which sets up all of the dynamic components specifically for racetrack use. And last, but by no means least, RS Individual, which as the name suggests, enables the driver to fine-tune each of the dynamic components supported by Audi Drive Select separately for an even more personalised driving experience. There are also now newly developed and even larger 6-piston steel brakes to keep the 5-cylinder engine very effectively in check. Then there are the internally vented and drilled ceramic brakes that form part of the optional RS Dynamic Pack, which offer even more unremitting stopping power and also hold a 10 kilogram weight advantage over their steel counterparts, despite the fact they have also been expanded in size. Even at everyday speeds, the new RS3 gives every journey a sense of occasion, and with absolutely contemporary design and technology, motorsport-inspired detailing and uncompromising comfort, its cabin is the perfect auditorium for the 5-cylinder TFSI's animated performance. Aluminium and CFRP feature prominently, particularly in the carbon black, Vorsprung and Launch Editions, and are set off by the RS embossed sport seats with their fine Napa leather upholstery. In line with the increasingly intensive Audi sustainability focus, customers can choose to replace this at no cost in all versions with an alternative combining mono-per artificial leather with a microfiber material Dynamica. This resembles suede but is woven using a high proportion of recycled polyester fibres that began life as plastic bottles and textiles. Positioned perfectly in relation to the driver is a 3-spoke sport steering wheel with high-quality die-cast zinc shift paddles and an RS button that gives access to the new RS driving modes. Also ahead is a 12.3-inch Audi Virtual Cockpit Plus, which features exclusive RS Sport, RS Performance and RS Runway display layouts, as well as additional readouts for G-force, lap timing and acceleration measurement, and a racing-style gear shift indicator in manual transmission mode. It's complemented by a central 10.1-inch touchscreen controlling all of the familiar infotainment and navigation features, and also incorporating a special RS monitor, which allows the driver to check coolant, engine and transmission oil temperatures, as well as the tyre pressures. Typically, for a modern day Audi, it's the 4-sprung versions which offer the most indulgent RS3 specification. It includes everything from a Bang & Olufsen 3D sound system to a heads-up display, and also supplements the standard car's already lengthy list of driver assistance features with upgrades like a 360-degree camera and adaptive cruise assist. As Audi prepares to launch its last ever internal combustion engine in just 5 years' time, the new RS3, with its even more intoxicating 5-cylinder TFSI and numerous other improvements, clearly demonstrates our refusal to compromise in any area on the continual pursuit of progress that's the mainstay of Vollsprung Dirk technique.